Hello everybody, welcome to Barbershop Books Story Time with Alvin Irby, that's me. Today, we're going to be listening to a story called Sugar Hill. Can you say Sugar Hill? That's actually a neighborhood located in Manhattan, which is in New York City. So, it says Harlem's historic neighborhood. Harlem is one of the most historic, one of the places that people love to learn about and hear about in New York City. One of the reasons why Harlem is so famous is because it was a place for artists, people like musicians, writers, people who did lots of artsy things. Well, today we're going to learn about Sugar Hill, one of New York City's most famous and historic cities. Are you ready to read the story? I'm ready to get into it. All right, let's see what happens today. Sugar Hill, Harlem's historic neighborhood. Sugar Hill, where life is sweet, and the A train stops by the black elite. The A train, it's a subway car. It's a subway line in New York City. In New York City, people take subways to get where they need to go. A subway is like a train. It runs underground and it runs above ground. And it has a conductor, and then it has lots of cars where people can ride while they're going to and from their destinations. If you look closely in this picture, you can see it. You see these blue cars? Those are subway cars. And the A train, it runs through the neighborhood of Harlem. I've actually ridden or rode on the A train before, where apartments are the height of style, and watchful eyes train every child. We're talking about the historic neighborhood of Sugar Hill, where the best and brightest strive and shine, and stairways lead right to Cloud 9. So today's story is called Sugar Hill, and this is a book about one of New York City's most historic neighborhoods. It's one of the neighborhoods that's in the Harlem area, where townhomes lend to river views. So that means that you can see the river from your apartment. Can you imagine being able to go to your window, look out, and just see water rushing? Well, that's how some of the apartments in Harlem, that's how they were. And parties swing to jazz and blues. Have you ever heard jazz music before? It's like lots of different instruments, like piano and saxophone and trumpet and drums. And it usually has some kind of fun beat that makes you want to dance. Well, that's the kind of music that was playing in the neighborhood of Sugar Hill in Harlem. Sugar Hill, where life is sweet and neighbors smile at all they greet. So they smile at everyone that they meet. Do they do that in your neighborhood or your city? When you meet someone new, when you see someone, do you smile and say hello? Well, that's what happens in the neighborhood of Sugar Hill in Harlem, New York. Look here. I think there are people who are having a party inside their apartment. And over here, if you look closely, you can see people dancing and playing instruments. I bet they're listening to jazz. For those of you who are just tuning in, today's story is called Sugar Hill, Harlem's historic neighborhood. So we're learning about a neighborhood in Harlem, which is in New York City, called Sugar Hill, and all the cool, fun stuff that happens there. Sugar Hill, it's a place where doctors and lawyers live next door. Do you have a doctor or a lawyer who lives next door to you? Well, that's how it is in Sugar Hill. And here's the picture. There's also, it looks like maybe a grocery store is right here. And do you see kids playing outside? To the owners of the corner store? Wow. So there's all kind of people who live in the neighborhood of Sugar Hill, where churches offer music schools that polish rough stones into jewels. What does that mean, to polish a rough stone into jewels? Well, lots of really shiny and expensive jewelry starts out as just a rough rock, like a diamond. When people get it out of the ground, it's dirty and dusty. But people who work with jewels, they can shine them and cut them to make them glimmer in the sunlight. Well, guess what? In this city of Sugar Hill, in the neighborhood of Sugar Hill in Harlem, it says that there are churches that offer music schools that polish rough stones into jewels. So maybe there are people who come in. Maybe they don't know that they have a skill like singing or playing an instrument. But maybe the churches, they help these people to shine. I would love to know what kind of talent you have. I hope that you're practicing really, really hard, whether you like writing or painting or drawing or singing. I hope that you work really hard so that you can shine. Let's see what happens next. Oh, wow. Everybody, we're talking about Sugar Hill. It's Harlem's historic neighborhood. Sugar Hill is a place where Duke and Count pluck out new tunes. Who's Duke? Who's Count? Well, I'm going to tell you. They're talking about Duke Ellington, one of the most famous jazz pianists that there ever was. And Count Basie? Oh, well, he was a pianist too. And man, could he play. Duke Ellington and Count Basie both had their own bands. And they loved playing jazz music. Do you like listening to jazz music? Have you ever even heard jazz music? Well, guess what? I think that you should listen to some. If you've never heard jazz music before, all you have to do is ask your parents. Mom, Dad, Uncle, Aunt, whoever it is, ask an adult. Can you let me listen to some jazz music? I love jazz music. And I have a funny feeling that you might like jazz music too. Let's keep reading and find out what happens next. We're talking about Sugar Hill, Harlem's historic neighborhood. It's a place where Duke and Count, they pluck out new tunes. And Zora spins stories by the moon. Zora Neale Hurston? Oh man, she's one of the best poets and writers. Oh, she was from Harlem. And that's why they talked about her writing. And if you look closely, I think she's at a typewriter and she's typing away, typing really, really cool stories for people to read. Sugar Hill, where life is sweet and Nicholas brothers, and the Nicholas brothers rest their feet. Who's the Nicholas brothers? Well, what do you think the Nicholas brothers do? Do you see them moving and shaking? Well, it's because they're dancers. Where Aaron Douglas births black art. This story is a story about the different people who made up this neighborhood in Harlem called Sugar Hill. It's about all the people, the artists, the musicians, the painters, the writers. Wow. And a young Faith Ringgold gets her start. Wow. This is a cool book. It's filled with all kinds of interesting new people that maybe you've never heard of who lived in Harlem's historic neighborhood of Sugar Hill. Now, if you're just tuning in and you're like, where's Sugar Hill? Well, it's a neighborhood in Harlem, which is located in New York City. This neighborhood of Sugar Hill, man, it's a place where talent blooms in pageants, choirs. So there were lots of people who would gather together to sing songs. And prized books fuel creative fires. This neighborhood of Sugar Hill is a place where artists can come and flourish. What in the world does flourish mean? Well, it just means it's a place where people can be their best. If they're a writer, they can be the best writer. If they're a painter, they can be the best painter. If they're a singer, they can be the best singer. And it doesn't matter what instrument they play. If they play the piano, if they play the trumpet, if they play the drums. Harlem, the neighborhood of Sugar Hill, oh, that's a place where they can be the best. Wow. It's a place where Robeson put down roots a while. Now, Robeson, who is Robeson? Well, I'm going to tell you. Robeson, it's a person. His name was Paul Robeson. And he loved to sing, but he had this really deep voice. Do you want to hear a part of a song that he loved to sing? Okay, I'll sing it for you. Well, just a little bit. The song is called Old Man River, and it went like this. Old Man River. How'd I do? Was that okay? Okay. Well, anyway, that's Paul Robeson, and he loved to do what? To sing. And Sonny Rollins hangs with Miles. Do you see Paul Robeson? He's singing. He's singing to the people who are listening. And Sonny Rollins and Miles? Well, Miles Davis, he played the trumpet. And he was a cool cat. And Sonny, well, he played the saxophone. Do y'all see them jamming? See, this neighborhood of Sugar Hill in Harlem, oh, it was like a jazz mecca. That's like a place where everyone comes to gather to celebrate this music. Oh, and man, when you listen to jazz, oh, it makes you tap your feet. Sometimes it makes you nod your head. You can probably tell. I love jazz. Well, Sugar Hill, where life is sweet, and kids play stickball in the street. Can you see it? There are people playing, children running around. They're playing, do you see it? They're playing stickball. All right, let's see what happens next. Where Du Bois outlines social tracts. Who's Du Bois? Du Bois. Well, he was a thinker, a writer. He was a teacher, a professor actually in colleges. He taught college students and he wrote lots of books. Wow. And Thurgood Marshall plots legal attacks. Thurgood Marshall was a lawyer. He helped fight for justice to make sure that people had good lawyers to represent them if they ever had to go to court. There's Thurgood Marshall. And right over there, well, that's W.E.B. Du Bois. Let's see what happens next. Where lovely Lena takes Sunday strolls that shoot racist notions full of holes. Lena? Do you know Lena? Well, she's Lena Horne, and she's one of the silkiest, one of the best jazz singers that you will ever hear. You see her? And that fancy hat and that beautiful purple dress? She even has a poodle. Do you see the poodle? Here, I'll get closer. It's right here. And guess what? Lena Horne, she was so famous that all of the musicians, all of the people wanted to get her picture. And they wanted to talk to her. Do you see the photographers? They're all trying to snap a picture of Lena Horne. Let's see what happens next. Guess what? This city, the neighborhood we're talking about, it's called Sugar Hill, and it's Harlem's historic neighborhood. It's a place where grown-ups lift the young ones high and give wings so they can touch the sky. Do you see it? In Sugar Hill, the parents lift the kids high and they give them wings so they can fly. Do you see this little kid? He's like, wee! Because his parents or someone's lifting him in the sky. Do you like that? To be lifted way up high? Or is that scary? Some people don't like heights. It's okay. Sugar Hill, where life is so sweet. That pride rings out on every street. And that's the end. That's the end. Today's story was really cool. It's a jazzy kind of book about one of the most famous neighborhoods in all of New York City. We're talking about Harlem's Sugar Hill neighborhood. Thank you so much for listening to Barbershop Book Storytime with me, Alvin Irby. Absolutely every Tuesday and Friday at 11 a.m. I'll be right here on Facebook Live, YouTube, wherever you're listening to this, sharing fun stories with you. Until next time, bye-bye.